All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all you little maniacs across the world, welcome once again to the Robcast. Robcast number 88, brought to you live, uncut and unrated, unedited, coming at you live from Spreaker Podcast and from Robcast Radio. So here's zombie, little maniacs, put your hands together, because here we go. So, little maniacs, hey little maniacs, or as I'll rather refer to you all as my cheap therapy. We'll talk about strength in numbers, but who needs any fake ass friends, man? What the fuck is this world coming to, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? When, I don't know, man, I'll tell you all about a couple of experiences that I've had this week trying to pick up a motorcycle and maybe something that I can ride, and what happened to Sandy. Sandy, as you know, was the Robcast chopper, and Robcast chopper had to go to a better cause, and I don't know if I feel like really talking in depth about that at all. It's kind of sucked to see her go, but I had to make it happen, and the long and the short is that I had a very interesting day today, and if you all, oh goodness, if you all had a day like the day I had today, then guess what? You might be breaking into that bottle of Grey Goose vodka that's in the freezer. Now, if it was a full bottle, I think I might break into it, but I think it might only be a couple of sips left. That's just enough to make you want to start drinking. But after the day I had today, it definitely makes me think about having a drink. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Different ways, the ways to follow the show. To definitely, I'm sorry. It's been a minute since we've been on the air, man. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you all tuning in. And I will definitely try to bring you all always the promises that we're going to bring you what we've got when we got it, and we're not going to make excuses. We are going to make something happen. I hear you. The ways to follow the show: we're at Robcast Radio on Twitter, we're at Robcast Radio on Instagram. I'm Robert Cole, zombie in parentheses, on Facebook. We are going to be putting this program also in the near future on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio at Robcast Radio. And definitely do not forget to download the Spreaker, that's Spreaker, Spreaker podcast app, the best podcasting network on planet Earth. And on Spreaker, you can listen to some other podcasts such as The Joe Rogan Experience. One of my personal favorites is The Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Coco Diaz. And you can also listen to The Adam Carolla Show and many, many others right here at Spreaker Podcast. So download the Spreaker Podcast app. It's free. And yes, definitely you can email us. We're at radiorobcast@gmail.com, radiorobcast@gmail.com, if you'd like to correspond with the show. And if you'd like to start your own podcast, your own Robcast, then you definitely would like to get the Spreaker Studio app. Check it out, the best podcasting network on planet Earth, Spreaker. Also, we will put this Robcast and 99% of our other material audio on YouTube. Robcast Radio on YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you again for tuning in. I had a very interesting day today. I started out my day by getting a couple cars safely from point A to point B, transporting them, and in the meantime, because I lost the Robcast Radio chopper, I didn't lose it, I sold it. I had to, I had a little mishap to where, anyway, a bank really needed some money, and I don't, it's still kind of tough to talk about the fact that I lost Pops. We lost our father on December the 27th, and the short of the long is on the January the 3rd, I go in, I go to Pop's bank, and I got enough money to pay all of his bills for the month, because Lord knows I wasn't ready for, my father to pass away, and my mother had also moved the month that my father had passed away. She went and moved in with my sister. I was not left, but I'm here at mine and my father's property that we bought together, but now I have to, my main priority in life now is to pay off this property. You know what I mean? So it would be the family's instead of having to make a payment on it. And, well, the point is that whatever my father's last check was from Social Security, the bank contacted me 3 months after that, and told me that they wanted all my pop's money back. So I was like, well, I sold my motorcycle, and I didn't know that I was going to sell my motorcycle, so I had gotten a title loan on the Gooch, which was the town car. I originally bought the town car to take Pops to do his cancer treatment in, and thought it would be something nice and smooth and comfortable for him to ride in. But don't ever get a title loan, let me tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's more gangster than gangster shit. And I could do a whole Robcast about that deal. The main thing is, it's 500%, somewhere around 500% interest. And if it comes down to you not being able to make a payment or two, then it becomes like you owe way more than your car is. I offered to take them the car, hand them the key. They didn't want that. They wanted the repo man to come repo the car without a key. So then I see him out there. He's prying the door open on the car. I mean, I don't know. It was a whole messed up deal. And the point is to this story, okay, is that so for the first time in years, no motorcycle, no car. Sold the motorcycle, went in, gave the lady in the bank an envelope. Bida bam, bida boom, it's done. Well, not long. I mean, this was maybe like a week ago. They came and got my car, the title max, and so I'm looking online. I'm thinking I'll find me a cheap motorcycle, something that I can fix up a little bit, and at least I'll have some transportation. The first motorcycle I went to go look at was on Saturday. And I don't know. I ended up calling the guy Dick Lick over Messenger because it was on the marketplace on Facebook. And the dude, I was a while back, a year or so ago, I went to go sell a motorcycle to someone in Houston. And right before I got to the address they sent me to, they asked me to go to a park that was across the street. It was just a super creepy thing, so I didn't. I went ahead and went to the house. And when I knocked on the door, they said, no. There's no one here that wants to buy a motorcycle, but they say you're the second a guy showed up last night with a motorcycle saying someone here would buy it. So it was just one of those situations where someone was trying to set you up to be jacked. So the motorcycle I'm going to look at on Saturday was only a few $100, and so it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it would catch you off guard if someone was just trying to get a couple $100, I don't know exactly how that would work because my mind doesn't work that way. I mean, if I had to sit down and think about it for a minute, I could figure it out. But the point is by the time this dude even messaged me back, I'd already driven an hour, gone to the wrong address, tried to get him to call me. And then by the time I turned around and was about halfway home, I just pulled over and wrote a message. Okay, Dick Lick. I just wrote Dick Lick. Look, dude, the least thing you could have done is fucking message me back after I drove an hour. So then I get a text message because I'd sent him my number when I got to the address. A lady answers the door. No one here has a motorcycle for sale. What's the guy's name? I tell her the guy's name. Never heard of him. And then he asked me he sends me a text message an hour or so later after I'm already almost back home. What's your major malfunction? My message back was, I don't have a major malfunction. I said, I just drove an hour to the wrong address. No one there said that there was a motorcycle for sale. And he was like, what'd the lady look like? I said, she was hot, mid probably late 30s, thick, hot housewife. I don't know what to tell you. Nope. And then after all that, I get a message back from, oh man, I'm so sorry. I did send you to the wrong address. I sent you to Avenue E in Santa Fe, Texas, which is an hour away from me. And I meant to send you to Avenue C. He said, but I was just giving you the address so that you could see how far it was. Anyway, I don't know what the deal was with that. But so I thought that was over the weekend. It's now Wednesday. We'll see what's up. We'll see if I can make it after work today. If I can make something else happen, maybe end up with some sort of a motorcycle project. Either I can fix it, pick up a bike for a couple of $100, and this is what I do, and fix it up and make it to where either the next guy can take the ball and run with it, or get it to where it's street legal, running and driving and everything, and then somebody eventually will buy it and I'll make a little bit of money. You have to excuse me, boys and girls, because I had to run into the kitchen real quick and get me a nice hot cup. A nice hot cup of Folgers Black Silk. And hey, Folgers, if you're listening, you could send me a little nug of that Black Silk, because I really like the Folgers Black Silk. Smooth. You think it's a dark coffee, but it's so smooth. I guess that's the Black Silk part. So if you're a coffee drinker on a budget like me, I'm not like Quentin Tarantino and Pulp Fiction, man. I drink the Walmart coffee. I try not to get the cheapest of the cheap, but I have gotten some that the dollar store. I got some that was $3, a $3 can of coffee. Woo! I took it across the street and gave the whole can to my neighbor and said, please let me borrow enough of your good coffee to make a pot, and you could have this, give it to somebody. Ugh. Anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, I need a motorcycle, I need transportation, but even if I just get because I'm pretty talented whenever it comes to motorcycles. It is second nature, and I've told someone before, imagine how many motorcycles that you've seen in your life. And if you think about that number, how many motorcycles have you seen in your life? That's probably about how many motorcycles I've owned. If you imagine all the motorcycles you'll ever see in your life, that's about how many motorcycles I've worked on. So that's just to give you a judgment of, if you do your 10,000 hours and you become a master. Like Robcasting, I haven't quite gotten there yet. But on motorcycles, I'm definitely like a duck in water. The point is, I find a motorcycle. It's a Suzuki Intruder, 800 cc's of awesomeness. And it was on one of those buy and sell places, our local one, and it's through Facebook. It's called Garage Sale. It's like Garage Sale, but with a V. Well, it's not relevant, but I mean, you can look it up. I'm on Garage Sale, and this is, okay, motherfuck, there are so many scam artists and motherfucking cunt bags out there that are just fucking people around. 20 years ago in the motorcycle business, if you did not have a title for a motorcycle, you couldn't do anything with it. You couldn't sell it. You can't even scrap it out. And if you do take it to, let's say, Houston Cycle Salvage, or someplace like that, Union or Sam's or any of the motorcycle places back then that did salvage, man, they would have to make you fill out this paperwork that this motorcycle is going to be destroyed, just straight up. And there's still stipulations to that. There's a number that you call. Back then, there was a number that you would call, and it was called auto theft. It was a 1-800 number. You call them, you give them the VIN to the car, the motorcycle. In our case, it was always a motorcycle. And they would tell you whether or not it was stolen, or if it was a theft recovery or a salvaged or anything like that. Well, that for all of your information, you can still do that, but it's online, and it's called the National Insurance and Criminal System National Insurance Criminal Database. But it's free. If you go free VIN to check, it's called free. Just type in free VIN check for stolen car, and it'll go to that National Criminal Insurance and National Insurance and Criminal. Anyway, whatever it is. Let's see if I've got it here, if it'll mess me up recording, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Okay, NICB is what it's called, and it's VinCheck. NICB's VinCheck is a free service provided to the public to assist in determining if a vehicle has been reported as stolen but not recovered, or has been reported as salvage vehicle by cooperating NICB members. Insurance companies to perform a search. A vehicle identification number is required, a maximum of blah 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 blah. So there you go. You can go and you can check that out. Well, lo and behold, I get with the gentleman on this buy and sell site. Decide that I want to go look at this motorcycle. I've actually decided to go ahead and buy it if I can pick it up for, a low enough number. I got the guy's address, get off of work, borrow my boss's truck. Put a 2x12 in the back, make sure I've got tie downs. I'm going to go pick up this bike. And like I'm saying, for a couple of $100, what do you expect, right? For me, I'm very frugal, okay? For example, I have bought a motorcycle for $200 or $300 and sold it for $1,300 to $1,500. Well, who else do you know that can do paint and body work, mechanical work, electrical work, you name it, A to B, top to bottom, front to back? If it requires any kind of work on a motorcycle, from frame up restoration to just putting a spark plug in it, it's no problem. It's what I do. I can do it in my sleep. I'm not bragging, okay? I'm just stating the fact. And if you've ever seen me tear something apart, look, my brother and his friend cut a motorcycle in half. Literally, a Suzuki GS500. They cut it in half. The frame. They cut the frame in half because they were going to take the engine and put it into a go-kart. The engine was too big. It didn't fit the way that they wanted it to fit. So they brought me 3 boxes of parts. They brought me a frame that was literally hacksawed in half in 4 places. They brought me the engine, etc., etc. And I'm going to say 24 to 36 hours later, I put it together. I was riding it around, and within a week, I sold it. Now, I sold it only for $75, but it was a free motorcycle that somebody gave me that they cut in half, and it was a basket case in pieces. I sold it to the scrap man, guys. Don't get your feelings hurt thinking that I put it back on the road. I knew that it was. I told him where I welded the frame back together. I just wanted to see if it could be done. All right, and yeah, it could. And you can ask my brother or my buddy Pee Wee. Either one of them will tell you exactly that same story. Anyway, so it's like probably a 30-minute drive. I get in the truck, I drive over, I look at the bike. I offered the dude $100 for it because it didn't say in the ad. It said that it didn't have a title. When I sent him a message and asked him, now this is I'm guessing it was a 98 model or something like that, maybe a 2000 model Suzuki Intruder 800cc. Now, was it an 800? Was it a 1400? Was it a 750? You can't really tell by looking at the outside of it. And like I said, man, I looked at it. It had the back tires blown out on it, but has a really nice Corbin seat, but the seam's split on the seat, and it's laying next to the bike. Somebody has taken the air box apart, and the air filter's gone. It's got some wires hanging, and the whole engine and the tank have black. You can tell that it's from fire. It's smoke where smoke has not damaged the bike, but covered it with soot. It's not even been wiped off, okay? I look at the bike, I'm thinking to myself, well, back tire, needs a battery, okay? It's definitely going to need a tune-up and oil change. I'm going to have to rewire it. And there's no telling what other little pieces. He told me that the reason that it caught on fire now, okay, the reason it caught on fire is because they put the wrong fuel pump on it, yada, yada, yada. It caught on fire, and that's why it stopped. They quit driving it. And when I inquired about the title, he said that the guy that he got it from was going to be in prison for the next 20 years, so he couldn't sign the title. Something to that effect. Well, I'm thinking, well, lost title, that's no big deal. I can do the thing to send a certified letter and all that stuff, and it'll come, The bike has a Florida license plate on it, and the plate is Talica. Okay. The guy wouldn't take 100 for it. He told me he'd take 125. I negotiated it to 120. And said, well, I need you all to help me load it up. Now, normally, guys, there are red flags when you go to buy a motorcycle. Black spray paint all over the bike is a red flag. Missing ignition key, missing gas tank key, that's a red flag. The number one red flag is if the VIN number has been altered in any way, has been ground off, or if it's covered up. Okay, that's the biggest red flag is if anything's been done to the VIN. And the VIN you're going to find on the neck, where the handlebar goes through, on the neck of the bike. You're going to find the VIN on the swing arm of your motorcycle. Also, if it has like tune-up specifications and stuff like that, you're going to have that on the swing arm. Also, it's going to be underneath the seat. A lot of your motorcycles are going to have an owner's manual underneath the seat also. And you're going to have also, it's not going to be a VIN number, but your engine number. It's going to be on the motor. Any of these things are altered. And let's say the engine, there's specifically a different motor on it. You can tell, okay, if somebody's ground the number off of it or altered it or put Pookie on it, whatever that might be. Well, this motorcycle had no key, okay, that's one red flag. This motorcycle didn't have any other altercations to it at all. And I can tell you that I've bought a motorcycle that doesn't have a key before from auctions. I bought it from like apartment buildings, storage places that someone leaves them there. Bought them from wrecker yards where, though ultimately that's where they're going to end up if the apartment calls and says, hey, tow this motorcycle off. And ultimately it'll end up on Highway 3 storage or someplace like that. And because the motorcycle didn't have that many red flags. Regardless, it was my own fault for not calling it in, just to make sure it wasn't stolen. Which, we'll get to that part. Believe that. So, as I take me a nice little sip of this Folgers Black Silk, I can tell you that it's a nice little baby blue and white Suzuki Intruder 800, which really, the lines on that bike are really nice. They make a really, really cool bobber when you bob them out. But it's a good looking bike. Ergonomically, they're comfortable to sit on and ride, and I've always kind of liked them. My brother had one. My brother had the 1400 that he ripped around out of here, and I'm surprised he didn't kill himself on it, but that's neither here nor there. So I'll get the gentleman to help me load the motorcycle into my boss's truck. We loaded in there. We put a couple straps across the front, put one across the back. I'd already paid the dude. Thank you. Have a nice day. I hit the road going back 30 minutes back to the house. Well, this thing, like I said, it's covered with soot because apparently it had caught on fire, which that's nothing but a step for me. And the guy, he also told me, the motor runs. You could hook it up and this and that, and it'll crank up. I know that's not good. If a motorcycle's sitting there for a while, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a good idea to just put jumper cables to it and run whatever nasty ass gas that's in the tank into the carbs. It's better to take all that off, clean it, do your diagnostic first. And mind you that the airbox had been compromised on this motorcycle, so the carburetors had any kind of filter. For all we know, there could be a dirt dauber's nest in number one cylinder right now. And without checking all that out, which my plan, I called my boss. I said, hey, I got the bike. I'm on my way back. I said, but instead of coming back up down to 523 and going that way to get back out here, because he lives right across the street from me around Angleton, Texas. I said, I'm going to go ahead and go down straight down 35 and stop in at the car wash and give this dirty son of a gun a bath, because it's horrible. I think just by washing it off, it's going to double the value of it. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I'm getting into Angleton, I'm thinking that maybe I don't speed. I'm a paid professional driver, okay? And not that I make any money doing that, but when you're a paid professional driver, you don't get stopped, you don't get tickets. You know what I'm saying? If you can't how can I explain it to you? For me, it's a prestigious thing that, I know that I'm not going to drive an illegal car if a car doesn't have the turn signal right or this or that. And if it does, someone else is going to take responsibility and know that from A to B, or I'll put it on a trailer. I'll just put it on a trailer. It's where it needs to go. There's always a creative solution to your situation, ladies and gentlemen. Always. So I got the Intruder, and it's really a cool bike, because the Intruder, it also has the 21-inch front wheel, and this guy has a low-profile tire on it, the spokes. The bike is dirty, but I can tell that somebody loved this thing at one time, and it just needed to have some rubbing. You know what I mean? It needed to be rubbed and loved and rewired and, all of the right stuff done. Maybe even bobbed out. Maybe even completely revamped. The bike's in the back of the truck. I called Sonny. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go by the car wash, give this thing a bath, and I'll see you in a bit. And I'm thinking also, the car wash is next to Jack in the Box. I'm going to grab me a burger. Okay, I'm maybe a half a mile from where the car wash. Well, I noticed that there's a Jeep behind me, and he starts flashing the lights. And I'm thinking to myself, is this dude road raging on me? I don't think I cut anyone off. But also, I have a 2x12 that I used to load the motorcycle in. Is it falling out of the truck? Because when I load the motorcycle in the back of the truck, there's a toolbox in there also. And in order to get the straps into their cubby holes and locked in and everything, I had to leave the lid to the toolbox in the back of the truck open a little bit. And my short ass, I couldn't see real good back there to see if... Also, it's a crew cab, to see past the back seat into the back to see if that 2x12 might have skated like it was going to fall out of the back of the truck. This guy's flashing his lights, and I keep going. I'm thinking, man, I don't want any trouble, and we're in Texas, okay? We all believe in the Second Amendment, and I know that there's probably a good chance that there's a 9mm there in the console of the truck. And I said to myself, I don't know what the deal is with this dude. If he has any trouble, then, I'm protected. And so I just continue forward, and then I see him saying, pull over, and motion, and for me to pull over. I'm like, man, this has happened to me before. And whenever somebody pulls you over like that, I'm surprised. I thought his car was going to start flashing, like he's going to have those hidden flashing lights. The one time that happened to me, it was a Texas Ranger. But he was in a big black SUV that once he did pull me over, which I deserved to be pulled over. I was in a company van, and I was traveling at a high rate of speed. I mean, I was probably going 80, 90 miles an hour. And that's, you have to be doing that for a Texas Ranger to pull you over. Today I wasn't doing anything wrong. That's an interesting story in itself. He was the coolest cat that you'd ever meet. And I apologized to him and told him that I knew that, he had better things to do today than to be pulling over speeders. And he just ran my driver's license, and he came back. He's like, "Mr. Cole, you like to go fast, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes, sir. And I'll slow down. I know you got better things to do with your time." And that Texas Ranger was just like, "Dude, have a good day, slow down, and don't, this and that." So today, I see this guy's telling me to pull over, so I pull into the car wash where I was going to wash the bike, and I didn't get out of the truck. I let him walk up to the truck, and he walked up to the truck, and he said, "That's my motorcycle." I said, "What?" He said, "Man, that's my motorcycle. It was stolen out of Danbury a year ago." I said, "You got to be kidding me, man. I just bought this bike on this garage sale thing. 10 minutes ago, dude, 15 minutes ago. And what saved my ass on this whole deal is that all of my messages that have been messaging this dude to buy the bike and to go look at it, and his ad was still on there. So I said, "Man, I don't know what you want to do. We should probably go ahead and call the police, and let them do whatever they need to do." I said, "But ultimately," I said, "this is your motorcycle." I said, "Dude, I only paid $120 for it, and I know how it feels, for something like that to get gained." And I said, "And it's a fucked up situation all the way around." So I told him, I said, "Man, look, do you live around here anywhere?" And he said, "Well, whatever. And which Danbury and Angleton is where we are. Danbury's, 5-6 minutes up the road, and where I bought the motorcycle from was 10-15 minutes up the road, or 5 minutes up the road from there." So so I'm tripping, man. I'm thinking, this is really a fucked up situation. And the gentleman goes on to tell me that, he said, "Man, I've got the key and the title in my name at my house right now." So I was like, "Cool, go ahead. Let's call the police. Or if you want to call the police, call the police. But I'm going to follow you to your house, and we're going to unload your motorcycle. We'll take it home." And he was like, whatever. He got in his car, and he called whoever, and he came back, and he told me, he says, "All right, just follow me to my house." So I followed him to his house, and when we got there, they just asked me what my story was, and I showed them what was going on. Showed them the messages I had gotten from this guy, and there's this gentleman and his wife, and they were just tripping because he goes into the garage and he grabs the license plate, and it matches the license plate that he had on the bike, and apparently it's a personalized plate. You know what I'm saying? It's from another state. It's from Florida, and this dude has the key to the bike, the title to the bike in his name. And what was kind of tripping him and I both out are this. A, he said he doesn't normally go through that part of town. And I wasn't going to go through that part of Angleton either today. I was just going to go straight back the way that I came in order to get the bike back. B, I couldn't load the motorcycle into the back of the F-250 by myself, so I'd already called my brother and told him to grab our his enclosed trailer, and I might need to borrow it because it'd be way easier to load this. It's a big motorcycle to load it. The enclosed trailer has the whole back door folds down, and it's a motorcycle ramp, and it's got the motorcycle chalk for the tire and tie downs and all that stuff. It's beautiful, easy to load and unload. So I already knew I may not be able to load the bike up. So I'll grab the enclosed trailer, put the bike into the enclosed trailer, and, take it home. Well, I didn't do that. There were two other guys there, so we were all able to load it into the back of the F-250. So the short of the long is today, whenever the gentleman that owned the motorcycle had seen me, he said he he works for a delivery service and he had forgotten something and he went back to go get it. And then whenever he went back and turned onto the road that I'm coming down going into Angleton, he ended up directly behind me. Directly behind me, a random person in a random borrowed truck that by all rights I should have had the motorcycle in the enclosed trailer that you can't see through it. It's a enclosed motorcycle trailer. It's just a big white trailer. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things had to line up in perfect fucking sequence in order for these events to happen. I had to pick the motorcycle up exactly. I had to leave exactly at 4:20, to get there and turn around and get the bike. Had to get the bike loaded into the back of the F-250 or it wouldn't have been seen. Then I had to time it to where I was going to the car wash that was on the side of the town that this guy doesn't normally go to, that I don't normally go to. So that's just fate, man. There was, the good Lord lined up the stars to where this gentleman got his motorcycle back today. And I've been there, and that's a fucked up situation. What's really fucked up about it, too, is that, what that does, gentlemen, is it deletes the market to where everything out there now that's a couple $100 isn't even really worth fucking with. You know what I'm saying? The past 2 items that I've gone to pick up that were just super cheap, kind of super cheap kind of come up items, you know what I mean? Buy this for 100, sell it for 300, take that 300, buy something that somebody wants 350 for, roll it into an $800 bike. I mean, it's fun, it's interesting. They've made several bartering shows and stuff just about that, but I don't know. The whole point that I'm trying to make with you all is that, yeah, that was my motherfucking day today. I went and bought a motorcycle, loaded it up. On the way to take it to the car wash, the owner of the motorcycle flashes me down, pulls me over, lets me know, hey, that's my motorcycle. It was stolen a year ago from like 8 miles away from here. And the dude that sold it is like 10 miles away from that. So, I mean, it's kind of a fucked up situation. But just remember, call in the VIN, go to the National Insurance and Criminal System and type that shit in and make sure that it's not stolen. I used to do every single motorcycle that I messed with, either have clean paperwork on it or I don't fuck with it to begin with. But every once in a while there is a legitimate reason for a motorcycle or car to not have a title that accompanies it. And boy, did I make I don't know, I feel like I made a bad decision by buying the bike. But like I told the owner, I said none of my spider senses were tingling on this one because it looked like something that somebody had caught on fire and parked. You know what I mean? And that is what had happened. But the fact is that happened after they stole the son of a bitch. They joyrode the shit out of it, blew out the back tire, caught it on fire, and said fuck it. And I don't know, all of the virtual buy and sell type markets. Craigslist, when it first came out, man, it was the shit. There wasn't anything else out there like it. And then it became nothing but more scam artists and send me to this fucking email, whatever, if you want to sell your car. Now they want to charge you to put a car on Craigslist for sale. And then, man, I noticed that there's on this garage sale that I had been using for a few years. It was really hot. You'd sell, pretty much anything you had to sell on it. And now it's this new Facebook marketplace. But as they go through their, it seems like they all go through their cycle to where the administrators keep a real close eye on stuff, or at least try to, or at least act like they are for a minute. And then whenever they get to the point to where they're too big for their fucking britches is when all of the fucking low lifes and the scumbags and the scam artists and the fucking thieves come in and start taking advantage of people. And it really pisses me off, man. Everything comes around full circle. The dude that I bought the bike from says, well, I called him. I said, look, man, I expect my fucking money back. The owner of this bike just stopped me, and he's gotten the police involved. The bike was stolen a year ago. So now this fucking dicklick wants to say that now he's not going to give me my money back until he talks to the police or talks to the former owner. Well, where I fucked up is I gave the guy that I took the bike to his house. Like, I don't care who that is. You know what I mean? He seemed like an interesting character. He's a musician. The plate on his bike said Metallica, for Metallica, and I didn't even realize that. You know what I mean? That's what cued him off. You know what I mean? And I'm glad. Look, I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick because, I got caught with a stolen bike. I'm glad that guy saw it. I mean, all the fucking stars lined up for that to happen today. And I'm just pissed off that gentleman that the motorcycle was stolen from says that this certain guy, this is just loosely from talking to the guy in an excited state when your adrenaline's kind of going anyway when something like this happens. I think he said that it was at someone else's house and someone else kept asking to buy it and he kept telling them no, and then it ended up missing and ended up getting stolen. So anyway, be careful about what you buy and where you buy it from. And, it's just a trip. It's just a trippy situation. So I've got to talk, ladies and gentlemen. That was my day today. So how was your day today? Man, if you got your mom, your dad around, give them a call. Let them know that you appreciate them bringing your monkey ass into this world. And let me tell you something. If you don't have your parents around, they're looking down on you right now, and they are motherfucking proud of you, all right? There's always a creative solution to your situation. Believe that. No matter how dark it is, dude, it's always darkest before the dawn, fellas. So rock and roll. I did not get my money back. I look at it like this, too. I told the gentleman that owned the bike, I was like, dude, it's a $120 story, if anything, I mean, I could tell that he's a working man like me. He doesn't just keep an extra 120 laying around, for whatever, but I at least expected that the gentleman that I got the bike from might do the right thing. And I can tell you all right now that if he does, then guess what? I'm going to give that 120 back to the motherfucker that it got stolen from to put back into the bike. I'm telling you that, and I'll keep my word to that. The 120, yes, it was my last. I've got fucking like $8. I barely had enough money to get me a cheeseburger for dinner. That's the God's honest truth. But I'm able-bodied. I know that I'll do some work tomorrow. I'll make me $30. I'll be able to get me some number C8 with extra meat tomorrow for dinner if that's what I want. The main thing is I need motherfucking transportation. You know what I'm saying? And I'm fucked out of that for another day. So, hey, just like I say, there's always a creative solution to your situation. I'm going to have to hustle and bustle and see what the fuck I can break loose. But until another day, I'm going to have to bid you all adieu. I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. And to the crazy dudes that I had fucking dealings with today, man. I guess the Lord be with us all because, I'm trying to do the right thing and be the good guy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm definitely 100% happy that the gentleman got his motorcycle back. That doesn't happen every day. And it definitely made worth a good Robcast. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm Zombie, and I am out of here for the day. Y'all have a badass evening and even better tomorrow. Peace.